Witness the fight the boxing world has been waiting for on Netflix. Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford face off for the first time in their legendary careers for the Super Middleweight Championship in Las Vegas. The winner will walk away the greatest of their era. Watch Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Live only on Netflix.
John!
What?
Red 7!
I don't know what Red 7 means.
Hot route!
I don't. What is hot route? Will you just go stand on the other side, please?
Down!
Come on.
Ready! Down! Set! Hut! 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 Hut!
Hit me! Booyah! That's what we call a sack lunch. Nom 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 nom.
It's time for the Soonerscoop.com postgame show presented by Eskridge Lexus in Oklahoma City. Eskridge Lexus is the official travel partner of Soonerscoop.com podcasts. Now, here's your road crew, Carey, Eddie, and Bob, wrapping up all the action and reaction from this week's game.
All right, welcome back. It is the Eskridge Lexus post-game podcast, and we welcome in. I am Carey Murdoch here back in the Norman Studios. Our road crew, Eddie Radosevich, George Stoya joining us now from their hotel room in Philadelphia, where Eddie is still eating. Apparently the cheesesteaks didn't do the job. You got some...
Still eating. I haven't eaten today. That's the problem.
Because you stuffed yourself yesterday. So did you just go with one round of cheesesteaks? Just Angelo's, that was it? You didn't go to D'Alessandro's?
These were big-ass cheesesteaks.
I saw them, yeah. I mean, they were giant.
First off, we've only been here for a day, technically. So we ate lunch / I guess a early dinner at Angelo's. D'Alessandro's is actually closed until September 20th.
No.
We're completely missing out on D'Alessandro's. We're going to try to go find somewhere after we get done with this. But fun trip. Great trip, actually. A fun town. Phillies game last night was popping. Saw a Bryce Harper home run. Thought that was pretty cool. The game...
It was a long game. Well,
it
today.
was a long game. Carey, it was a hot game. Hottest game that Oklahoma's played in this year. I don't know what the temperature ended up being, but it was probably... It said 77. It was way hotter than that.
Well, let me set the stage here. Sooners win at 42-3, very similar to the butt kicking they gave Temple last year. It was 51-9, but this time the defense was even more dominating. It was hard for Temple to even get first downs in this thing. There were, I forget the number now. It was up to 7 3-and-outs at one point. I think when they brought in some of the backups, they started moving the ball a little bit. But just a dominating defensive performance. You talked about it. I mean, it got to the third quarter, guys, and I was like, oh, my God, there's still another quarter that they have to play in this thing because that game felt over really early in the third quarter. Like, there was no chance Temple was going to mount a charge.
Temple was 3 for 16 on third downs today. It was about as dominating as you could have imagined. And I think that, Brent said it after the game. You can watch the full post-game press conference on Soonerscoop.com's YouTube channel. But it was a very mature performance from start to finish. I thought that they were phenomenal today. And you saw some strides made in the run game. Obviously, Tory Blaylock with just at 100, but defensively, man, this thing, I'm starting to get pretty giddy about how good this thing can be defensively. It helps when you have a defensive line that was as dominant as that group was today, but they were just they were everywhere. Like Temple could not do anything. I'm sure the TV broadcast probably showed it a little bit more than being down on the field, but it felt like every time that OU ran out there defensively, they were going to get a tackle for loss, and then they were going to get a forced poor throw, and then they were going to get off the field on third down.
You guys know who? Do you know who was on the broadcast today?
Yeah, I heard the Radosevich household gave glowing reviews of Sam Acho's work today.
He did a really good job of not being too Texas-centric, I thought. Was your family upset with him?
I think the quote was, "He's fucking awful."
I thought he went out of his way to not show Texas favoritism. I mean, He didn't talk. The one thing that he did get into that I could see where OU fans were upset is he kept asking the play-by-play guy, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, why he said OU Texas instead of Texas OU, and he didn't understand why anybody would say OU Texas. It's always been Texas OU to him. So maybe that's the thing that got everybody riled. But I thought he went out of his way to be partial and to compliment Oklahoma and how they were playing in their defense, and it could have gone a lot worse. I guess that was my take on it. I don't know.
I believe that play-by-play guy's name was Roy Philpott. Philpott,
yeah.
I don't know, but at this point, if you're listening to the TV broadcast
that's on you.
It's on you. Like there's so much, technology these days that you can listen to the radio broadcast.
And they do such a great job. I mean, they really do. The whole crew. I mean, but anyway, George, we'll come back to you. Let me just play you. Brent Venables was asked in the post-game press conference, basically, is this your best defense since you've been back?
I really like all three levels. I think we have we have good depth at all three levels. Not amazing depth, but we have good depth. And so, what that looks like is right now we have a rotation. It may not be a solid 2 deep at each position, but maybe it's a 1.5, or maybe it's not a 3 deep, but it's a solid 2. And there's some positions that could afford, have a little more depth than others. But I do think that this is a very hungry, driven, humble, tough, high standard group of young men that they like to be pushed, like to be challenged, they like to practice, and when they go play together, it resembles recess, and I say that respectfully. They have fun, and when you're passionate about something, you have a chance to be great, and if you don't love it, you have no chance to be great, and so this is a group of guys that love it and love each other.
And that translates to the stat sheet to Temple having a total offensive yardage of 104 yards in this game. Oklahoma 515. But I believe, yes, average gain per play was just 1.9 yards. Or I'm sorry, 1.9 yards per play. So it was a dominating performance. And like Brent said, it wasn't just Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis, and I mean it was guys, Kendall Dolby coming in, and we'll play a little clip about him here in a little bit, but he had some nice things happen today. I mean, everybody on that defense, whether they 1s, 2s, 3s, they played very well. Now the R. Mason Thomas thing, not ideal, and he gets the targeting penalty, ejected, and he'll miss the first half of Auburn, but man, George, I mean, it's just reinforcement for what we see. I know it's not a great team. They did score 97 total points coming into this game, so it's not like this was just an awful offense that they were facing today.
No, and they tried to test them on a few things, and Oklahoma they're just so much better up front. Like, I was trying to think, when's the last time Oklahoma had this good of a front seven? And I really think it's we're talking 2009. And I think it was
11 TFLs today, by the way.
That's crazy. And what was the yards per play for Temple today?
1.9.
I think that's the lowest since 2014 against Kansas. I mean, that's insane. I mean, and I know it's Temple, and I honestly don't think Temple's very good, despite some of the stuff that was said this week.
They didn't play anybody, but I mean, they played Howard and UMass coming into this.
But to do that to anybody is impressive, and it just has you thinking, how good can this defense be? And Eddie and I were talking about it in the car ride back over to the hotel, but I think this offense is good enough to win you a lot of football games, but it's the defense that's going to give them a chance. And it's exactly like it was last year, but I think this defense is better, and obviously the offense is a lot better.
I thought one of the most entertaining parts of the post-game press conference, George, was your question to Brent about, as well as this defense has been playing, how strange is it that you haven't had any you haven't had a lot of turnovers, and this was his answer. He actually was kind of self-deprecating about it.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you. Ooh. Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Oh man, how disgusting is that? I know. And we've been preaching it. We start every practice with turnover circuit, and they'll come. If we were getting our brains beat in, and we had no turnovers, I wouldn't like any of it. But we gotta, we gotta do a better job, because that's gonna be a really important part. As we jump into SEC play here next week. That's going to have a big impact for us to be able to create turnovers. We've been the last 3 years going into this year, a really efficient defense when it comes to creating turnovers, and we need to just continue to hang in there. They'll come because we're playing fast, we're playing sure of ourselves, we're being physical, we're doing all of the right things when it comes to drill work and finishing on the football. The teams are just hadn't gone our way right now.
14 offensive possessions for Temple in this game, 9 3-and-outs. That's how dominating that defense was today.
They were incredible. And it felt like because of the pressure that was being generated from the defensive line, the quarterback for Temple, he didn't have much time. And when he did, everybody was getting covered up on the back end. I thought, the two corners kind of being thrown in tough spots today. Jacoby Johnson finally started to play today a little bit. Getting Kendall Dolby back was obviously a big deal, and I think it's going to be an even bigger deal moving forward. But it was, Carey, the whole day was just weird. It was a weird vibe around the game because of, I think, everything that goes into playing into a professional stadium, not very much in terms of an atmosphere, which I think is encouraging to go in there and play the way that they did, kind of having to create your own momentum, I guess.
The game was over so quick. The way they started, where they got the 3-and-out, and then they went down and scored on a 10-play drive. They converted that 3rd and 19 to Kinne, which we can get to. He's unbelievable right now.
So much fun.
But and then they went for 2 and they got it, and it was just like, oh, okay, OU came to play. Like this game this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, and look, defensively, the only thing that really lingers coming out of this game, and, knock on wood, is the R. Mason Thomas situation. And he's not hurt. He's fine. He's healthy.
Did it look like a targeting? I could never tell from the I never saw the TV
It was
broadcast.
face mask to face mask. I mean, it wasn't. When you look back in slow motion, there was a launch up into his head, but it wasn't. It was more like his momentum carried him. It wasn't like he ran through the quarterback. He just collided with him. But because it was face mask to face mask, I think the refs had no chance to call anything else. And you guys know this. I mean, you can watch that replay a million times and think it's definitely targeting, and they come back and they say no targeting. Like, no one really can understand how targeting is determined by the replay system. It's ridiculous that even if you watch it and you think one thing, you in your head you're like, I'm prepared to be wrong. You start tweeting about it and you're like, if I tweet about this, I'm just going to be wrong. Because it looked, I thought Hardy was going to get thrown out of the game for targeting, and it wasn't targeting, but he led with the crown of his helmet. Yeah, the Keontez Lewis. I mean, it was, I don't know. That was like a bang over the middle thing. I don't think he was launching himself into him. He was just going for the ball. He was
still by the letter of the law. Didn't even review it. That's the part that it's like, if
to
they
not review it. Yeah.
My thing was, Carey, is if they kicked Hardy out early in the game, and then if they would have reviewed the Lewis play and then called targeting on R. Mason, I'd be like, okay, like this crew said this is what targeting is, and so they kicked players out for it. But they didn't do that. It was just like all of a sudden, R. Mason's is targeting. I thought of all those 3 hits, it was the least worst. It was the worst or the whatever.
The most impactful, most forceful.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice one, Eddie. And it's kind of one of those things too. It's just like, I know Michigan, like they thought they would win their appeal. Let's just go to Brent real quick because he was asked about the R. Mason Thomas targeting, and the question you won't hear here is, are you going to go through the appeals process at the end?
I didn't see it. Yeah, but you put your face to their face. A quarterback, they're gonna call it most of the time. So we'll be without him obviously first half next week.
Are you guys gonna try to appeal that?
Yeah, we'll go. To the nth degree to do that, but we'll see.
And it's one of those things, guys. I haven't tracked that. I don't know how often appeals or overturn the call and they would overturn the suspension.
Minimal.
Yeah, I don't hear about them being overturned very often. But like I said, I don't track them all the time.
Not at all. I think that's basically in there unless there was something like egregious that they can go back and kind of overrule, but you don't usually see it, so they're going to have to move on. And I thought that, I'm close to kind of buying in on this idea that PJ Adebawore, like, he's he's getting closer and closer, it feels like, to having that big play. Taylor Wine was obviously pretty good today. Shit, Wyatt Gilmore
the strip sack today? Yeah.
I think it's probably a different ask to get him in there against Auburn, but you could probably rely on those 3 guys with PJ, Taylor Wine, and Marvin Jones Jr., who continues to play great football right now.
I think now
could probably get away with it.
I think right now Marvin Jones Jr. might be your most impactful defensive end. He played great against Michigan.
In terms of production,
yeah,
yeah. I don't think that's crazy. I thought Kip played really well today. Kobe was really good. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys that you could just say had a bad game.
Well, and it's crazy because if you look at the defensive stats, it's so even across the board. I mean, they had 3 people lead the team with 4 tackles apiece. Kendall Dolby, Reggie Powers, and Taylor Heim had 4 tackles. Sammy August, and here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people had 3 tackles. Kip Lewis, Kobe McKenzie, Dominic Williams, Taylor Wine, Marvin Jones Jr., David Stone was fantastic at the beginning of that game. He set the tone. Michael Boganowski had a tackle for loss. Wyatt Gilmore had his strip sack. We mentioned Reggie Powers III had his first sack, so he had a TFL. Or these are sacks. They had 4 sacks on the day, 11 tackles for loss. Their leader in tackles for loss was Dominic Williams with 2. Yeah, he was the only guy that had multiple. Really,
there was a couple plays too that I think it was the play before the strip sack when PJ got banged around. That was like one of the hardest hits I've heard on a football field in a long time.
You could hear it on TV. It sounded
really good on the Sights and Sound.
Oh man, you could hear it on TV. It sounded like a big old thwack, like somebody hitting a tree.
Well, it's probably echoing throughout the stadium because none of the Temple fans decided to come in from Lot K. That must be one hell of a party out there for all the shit that people were giving us after the hot mic incident this week.
Didn't get any unruly fans that recognized you that came after you or anything?
I mean, there
was no fans there.
There were some Philly kids that were there just to talk shit. But as soon as you turn around and say something back to them, and good fun, like they were being cool. They knew the bit. One of the guys kept saying he was a Texas fan, which I thought was kind of funny. But everybody was in a pretty good mood down there. It was a great turnout from Oklahoma fans, though. I know that we talked about it on the instant reaction. They were it was close. If there weren't more OU fans there, it was very, very close.
Mark Rogers was in the stands. He thought it was 70-30 OU.
I don't know about 70-30, but you could buy 60-40 for sure, or 50-50.
Yeah.
It was definitely close. The Reggie Powers sack was pretty awesome, though.
I mean, there was one time in that game where Brent was just like, fuck it, send everybody. I think it was 4th and 6 or something like that.
That was the Boganowski sack, I think.
Yeah, they sent 8 people. I mean, 8 people were going after, and it was a 9-yard loss or something when they sacked I think that actually might have been Powers' sack. was when he sent all
The
those
power.
guys.
They were both in two different end zones. The power sack was in the I want to say first or second quarter, first half.
Okay, he came off. Yeah, he came off the edge. He was kind of hiding behind the defensive end that was on that side, and he just took an outside lane, and just nobody picked him up, and he was wide open to the quarterback and made a great play.
Super impressive, man. It's a defense that I know that it's still early. They've only played 3 games. They're going to be tested a lot more this next week, especially at cornerback. They need to get Eli Bowen and
no boot
Gentry
today,
back.
huh?
Gentry did go through warm-ups. He just didn't play. I think he's kind of like a Michael Fasusi situation. If he would have had to play, I think he would have been okay to play. But Bowen was there. He was in not in uniform, but he was on the sidelines.
But you said no boot, right? On him?
Yeah,
today?
but he hasn't warmed up, or he hasn't even suited up yet. So I don't know how close he is.
But I think that they feel pretty good about, obviously throwing Kendall Dolby back out there. And Brent's eyes just lit up when he was talking about Dolby today. You can tell it should be no secret. He loves the kid. I think that there's a reason that they love him. And, the versatility that he brings to the defense. Kendall Daniels had a really quiet day. Did he even play today?
Yeah, he was out there.
Okay, he was out there. He just did it. It was a quiet day. And I could see because of the personnel, they were throwing 6 defensive backs out there, I would imagine.
Yes, yeah. And there's a lot of Reggie Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Cheetah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get back to a couple more things on defense, including Kendall Dolby, and we have something from Brent there. But want to remind you guys, this is the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast. I can't believe they want me to read this, but they put it in here. This is on Ed. Eskridge Lexus is very proud to be the official travel partner and the sponsor of the Sooner Scoop postgame podcast. We're happy to send George, Eddie, and Bob in a new Lexus when on the road covering the Sooners. Check EskridgeLexus.com for the most up-to-date inventories, including all new Lexus and Lexus L certified vehicles, or book your next service appointment. They make it very easy to do that online, as Eddie and I can tell you. All Lexus L certified vehicles also come with an unlimited mile full factory warranty with up to 6 years of coverage. L certified cars also come with 4 free services, free car washes, and use of brand new Lexus loaner vehicles while your car is in our service department. Unlike other dealers, Eskridge Lexus never charges a dock fee or makes you pay for accessories that you really don't want. Visit EskridgeLexus.com or call 405-755-9000. That's 405-755-9000. And they shout out a hearty boomer to all of you, and you answer sooner at home. So thank you to Eskridge Lexus and Ed and the Eskridge family for always being a big part of the podcast. All right. What were your impressions of Kendall Dolby today? How much back is he? And do you expect him to be a bigger part of things as move forward?
I think the answer to the final question that you asked is yes. He's going to be a big part of this defense. I thought that, early too, they tried to pick on him a couple times, and I think that they did complete was it an 11-yard out maybe in the first quarter?
Yeah.
And you could tell that he was just kind of getting his feet underneath him. But all in all,
he's going to and he played corner today. I think, and he'll play corner at times for OU, and I think today was just one of those things. Gentry's out, play him at corner. I think a lot of times you're going to see Gentry, Cortland, and Dolby all on the field. I think they want him to be that 6th defensive back when they can. But I thought he looked good. I mean, he had 4 tackles in the game. So
yeah, led the team in tackles.
Healthy.
Or wait, he 4 solo tackles. He and Reggie Powers third, both tied for the lead in solo tackles in total.
Including a tackle for loss. He had one of the 11.
Yes. But, and guys, we watched him, through fall camp, and Brent gave us so much good access, and then all of a sudden he had a cast on, and we thought, okay, well, maybe that's what's holding him back. But clearly by Brent's reaction today, it's been quite an ordeal for him to get back to this point where he can just play, and, a broken ankle. I mean, Eddie, you were down there. I think you were in that end zone when it happened last year against Tennessee, one of the most gruesome injuries that we've seen at Oklahoma in a while. So it was a little bit of a celebration for Brent today, having Dolby back out there on the field and leading the team in tackles.
But Kendall Dolby, how cool was that for me, man? I want to make a grown man cry. Just proud of him, everything that he's had to overcome. A very significant injury. To see him back out there this week in practice and in pregame, I had to say, man, you need to pull back. My man was wide open in pregame, and but it was great for him and going to be good for us, moving forward, to get him back, one of the best leaders that we have on the team, one of the most competitive players that we have on the team, just a lot of passion and energy when Kendall Dolby's around.
All right. Anything else that we want to highlight defensively? Like I said, maybe we should take a minute and talk about how well David Stone played early in that game and kind of set a tone on the defensive line. But everybody was dominant up front. And I think they were so good guys that, without R. Mason Thomas to start the Auburn game, I still think this defense is going to be fine. They'll still be, like you said, you put Taylor Wine in there or maybe a PJ, and they're going to be able to sustain that first half and not come out and just get their doors blown off.
It starts in the middle for me, and David Stone certainly is part of that group. But I thought Jaden Jackson, Dominic Williams, Grayson Halton, all four of those guys, when they're on the field, you just feel better about everything from the middle.
I think they're the interior defensive line, the defensive tackle position is the best position group on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how close it is.
I would agree.
Like, that's how good those guys are on the interior.
And it really doesn't even feel like it matters what four are out there. Yeah. Like you can mix and match whoever's out there.
Even Marcus Strong played great today, I thought.
Should have got the ball though.
Yeah.
When Wyatt Gilbert knocked it out.
How about Grayson Halton not getting the interception in the end zone?
That was so funny.
What an athletic play by Grayson Halton to even be to give himself an opportunity. I was giving Omosiga shit after the game. He should have just caught it. He should have instead of batting it up, he should have just caught the ball.
Just ripped it out of the air.
Yeah, we got a great shot of that you can see in the instant reaction, and it'll be in sights and sounds.
He was very close, though. I mean, like, it literally went between his hands. He was off balance and he didn't make a full dive. He was kind of outstretched, but man, that would have been the capper on a great defensive performance.
Yeah, it would have been an unbelievable play. And, just what a stupid ass play that was to even put your team in that spot. The Temple kid catching the ball and stepping out at the one.
Oh God, yeah.
Such a bad play, but
it was almost a genius play, because if he would have stepped out and then caught the ball, it would have been their ball at the 35. It would have been ball out of bounds, kickoff out of bounds.
I don't think the ball was heading out of bounds.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
okay.
No. It would have hit right in the corner. What I'm saying is, if any part of his body, you've seen them do that in the NFL, where the guy puts his tiptoes. You can do that in college too. Yeah.
Yeah. Close. I didn't realize that the ball was that close to going out of bounds. Is what I'm saying. I didn't realize. I was on the other angle.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was that close.
But I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I think he just caught it and took too big a step to the left.
Yeah. He just got lost on the field for a second.
We need to talk about the offense.
Yes. We will.
Defense. Final statement on the defense. I'm now open to the idea this thing can be as good as they possibly can be. Like, I'm excited to see them start getting into games where they're going to be tested a little bit more through the air. Obviously, I think, on the ground, they're about as good as it has been in a long time, and they should only continue to grow. I think they're going to get better moving forward.
I mean, I've seen a lot of Oklahoma football, a lot of going back to the Barry Switzer era, and I was too young then to really compare that to what we're witnessing now. But like, going through the one thing about this defense that is different than any defense that I've seen in the last 20 years is a lot of times with the Bob Stoops defense, even when they were really dominant, if they lost a main starter, there would be a drop-off to the person behind them. And this defense, it's one of the first defenses I've seen in over a decade where they actually could lose a frontline starter and still be dominant. And I'm saying it in multiple positions. Because if it's linebacker, if it's one guy on the defensive line, I mean, we're going to find out with R. Mason Thomas being out in the first half this next week. You couldn't do that at corner probably right now, but they have lost Gentry Williams, and they're still fine. And that's against Temple. We'll find out when they take on Jackson Arnold. And by the way, Arch Manning looked terrible today. I mean, the schedule, it's lessening in some areas. In other areas, it's getting worse. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But, just defensively, that's what stands out to me. And Brent talked about it. We've already played the clip. Like, they're not like three deep at every position, but some positions they are.
It certainly feels like that. I think it's going to be really interesting. And, they did it again today, by the way. Speaking of the Keontez Lewis interception that put the defense in a bad spot, there they were again.
Yeah.
Onto a little bit of adversity, being able to get off the field. I mean, this is a shutout today.
They actually lost yardage on that drive before they kicked the field goal.
I mean, it's crazy, the spots that they've been put in through these first 3 games.
And didn't you feel like, okay, they're going to be fine? Like, even before they went out there, you're like, this is what this defense does. They get their backs put against the wall, and they respond. And that's exactly what they did again today.
100%. 100%. It's super impressive. I think that, everything, you can say a lot about Brent Venables as a head coach, and I think maybe that narrative is starting to change a little bit. But at the same time, the man knows what he's doing and putting together a defense. They are exceptional. And, I just think back, I was telling Josh Calloway down on the sidelines, I think at one point in the third quarter, Temple had 71 total yards on the afternoon. There were times in 17, 18, 19, 20, the opposing team, let alone it being Temple or whoever, they would have 71 yards in the first quarter, or maybe even in the first possession. So the leaps that this thing has taken defensively has been kind of tremendous and fascinating and fun to watch. And I think that kind of leads into the offense, Carey, and just everything that John Mateer was able to do once again today. Tory Blaylock was incredible on the ground. I think he's the running back. He's your starting running back. He's RB1. There were some interesting comments on Jaydn Ott after the game that we can get into. Overall, though, I thought it was a really, really complete performance for both sides of the ball. I thought the offense and the starters played really well today.
George, real quick, your final thoughts on the defense before we move over to the offensive side.
They're great, and I think they're going to continue to be great. I think Eddie kind of nailed it.
All right. We're going to move on to the offense first. I want to tell you guys about Tushy. And, these boys, they'll need a bidet when they get back. I heard you talking about that on the instant reaction, Eddie, after all the heavy foods that you've been putting in your system, and we'll continue to do tonight. But A-hole, balloon knot, fart box, stink wrinkle, leather Cheerio, cornhole, mud button, they're only dirty words if you wipe. Now, men will laugh about this, and we know that I'm a big bidet guy. And I've taken my fair share of shit over this, but I don't care. It's great. It's a life hack. You need to get it. I'm even answering questions on the YouTube comments about it these days. But it's the everyday luxury bidet that instantly transforms your bathroom habits and bottom health for life. 99% of people who wash with Tushy Wave feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom. Every Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing. It's really easy to put in. George can tell you. He's done it. I've done it. It's not a problem. Every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty. And people have made the switch to Tushy use up to 80% less toilet paper. And remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code SoonerScoop at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code SoonerScoop. All right, let's get to the offense. And certainly, it wasn't the opener where John Mateer just threw the ball all over the place, and even Michigan, it seemed like they were able to get the ball down the field a little bit more. But I was listening to the post game show on the franchise, Eddie, with Teddy Lehman and the broadcast crew, and he mentioned that they were playing 2 high safeties all night. It took away a little bit of what they could do passing the ball. And you felt at times like you just wanted Mateer to just let it go and throw it down the field and get a big play for a touchdown. But I think the biggest thing today is that we saw the running game come back and play as well behind Tory Blaylock as he has all year. He had 100 yards rushing today, and then you had right after his biggest run, you had John Mateer with the 51-yard touchdown. And overall, I could have seen a little bit more from the offense, but once they got to 42-3, it all shut down. Then they brought in Michael Hawkins Jr. But it's just, to me, I guess because of where we've come from last year, there's no panic button here because they just didn't put 50 on the board before halftime. It's just an offense that continues to grow, and I like that you saw Zion Kearney today. You saw other receivers, and you saw Jaden Kinne continue to produce. But I thought there were a lot of good things, even though some fans may have wanted a little bit more today.
Well, here's my biggest thing is they'll get into these third and longs, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, like they can pick this up. And that's not a thought that like we had a year ago, and even sometimes during the Jeff Lebby days, like you didn't have like a ton of confidence that they could pick up a third and long. Whereas now it's like, oh, like they can do it. Like they'll either scheme something open, or Mateer had some great plays today, especially early in the game, where he scrambled and escaped the pocket and then found like Kinne down the field. And that's the part that, to me, with the offense and the running game, I think finally kind of got going at times today. Now, I think some of it's masked by the two big runs that Mateer and Blaylock had. But I think the biggest thing for me is like you trust this quarterback and these receivers to make some big plays for you down the field and kind of take what the defense has given them.
And guys, we saw Isaiah Satania break out as a receiver today too.
Absolutely.
Especially on the edges. It was like they were trying to get him on the edge.
I love that kid with the football in his hands. It just seems like
awesome.
he has that feeling that he could pop one at any time. And I think that eventually, it's kind of like the turnover thing for the defense. I think that the long plays, like the explosive plays, they're going to come as long as they continue doing the right things at the basis, at the fundamentally sound things that, I think that you're starting to see them do more and more and more. And that helps when you're able to run the football. If they can start running the football with Tory Blaylock, north-south, get it more downhill, it's going to bring those safeties up. It's going to have to at some point. So I think that that's like a thing that it's not there yet, but it feels like it is going to start coming as things progress. So hopefully it does. But I thought Mateer was good again. I mean, not anything great. I thought he missed a couple throws, but he came back and he would make a really good throw to kind of make up for it when they were in third and long. The only thing like about that third and long stuff, I just don't know if that's something that you want to make a benchmark. Like I know that
but you at least feel like they could pick it up.
Right.
They third and long and it was over.
Right.
But I agree, there were too many third and longs today, and they got behind the chains more than they should have. John Mateer on the day, 20 of 34. He did have the one interception, John Lee Keontez Lewis breakup / interception / not targeting. 282 total yards, 1 touchdown passing, and he did have the 51-yard touchdown run as well. But Tory Blaylock did lead the team in rushing, 14 carries for 100 yards. The thing about Tory Blaylock, guys, he doesn't have negative plays as a running back. He had no lost yardage today, hit the 100 mark exactly. But he's always seemingly finding his way moving forward.
He's so quick to get through the hole. Like I think he sees things really well.
He does.
And he knows when to like try and get through a hole or say, you know what, I got to bounce this outside. And when he gets to the edge, it's over. He's too fast.
I think that he just has a great feel for it. It's kind of like what George said. And you can see some of the stuff in, I'm sure that we'll go over it this week in the game day rewind and things like that. But it's very different how he hits a hole versus somebody, and maybe this is unfair, but like a Javonte Barnes or even a Jaydn Ott there in the fourth quarter, he just doesn't see it as much.
But
and
again, I think it's important to say, too, they did use Javonte Barnes well today. I mean, they used him early. They had him run inside the tackles when they were near the goal line. He punched it in. He only had 5 carries on the day, so they didn't overuse him. But they kind of let him get in. I mean, their best running back is a true freshman, but they're going to let someone settle them into the game, a veteran like Javonte Barnes. I don't have a problem with that right now until Tory Blaylock gets more games under his belt.
And I thought Xavier Robinson, I don't know what his stat line ended up being, but I thought he ran the ball well, and some of it was late in the game, so what do you know? But, like, I think if you have Blaylock as kind of your speed guy with a lot of juice, and then Xavier Robinson's kind of your guy that you can use to wear down a defense in the second half, like, that's not a bad 1-2 punch. And I don't know if we want to get into the Jaydn Ott stuff, but it was some interesting comments from Brent.
We will do that. Let me get the stats out for you guys. Tory Blaylock, 7.1 yards per carry. Great stat number. I mean, John Mateer with the 51-yarder is going to be tops at 9.0. But Xavier Robinson, 5 carries, 26 yards. He did have a 5.2 average, which is not bad. So I think there's still more from Robinson that we can see, though. I think he's still shaking off a little rust.
100%. And I think that, like, I really like the idea that George threw out there that if you can get Robinson to be a guy that's really fresh in the second half and get some fresh legs in there, I think he's a guy that can wear on you a little bit, obviously, with his body.
Remember,
yeah, sure.
Sermon in the second half all the time.
And I was going to say, Carey, that was something that we talked about on one of the practice reports this week after talking to Ben Arbuckle and Brent Venables about Tory Blaylock being a guy that it just seems like every time he gets the ball, he's finding a way to fall forward instead of backwards. And, that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal when you're talking about a 3rd and 2 or a 4th and 1.
Here's what Brent had to say about Tory Blaylock, and then we'll talk a little Jaydn Ott after this.
Yeah, just a tough guy. He's a little bit, he's not 100% healthy, and he loves to compete. We've been bragging on him since way back in the spring. He led the spring with the most explosive plays, and he runs through trash. He's got great speed. He's got on the edge, and that he saw that his burst, but he's got really good patience and pace to him too as a running back. But runs well behind his pads and runs through a lot of arm tackles.
And it's amazing that that he's they go out of their way to say he's still not 100% yet, and yet he's clearly Oklahoma's best runner right now. Just a lot of toughness from that kid.
Yeah, he's awesome, and I think he's just got again like a really good skill set. And then you talk to him, Carey, and he's just the maturity he has. He always talks about being prepared, and that people are like, oh, you're a true freshman. He's like, well, if you just prepare, then it's easy on game days. And I just think that that's such a great mindset as a young player. So I think he's clearly their best guy. I think he's gonna end up being maybe their leading rusher this year. But I still think Jaydn Ott can be a part of this thing. I mean, he looks great, like at least in football pads, but like then he gets out there and it's like he's timid, like going through the motions.
Yeah, he's timid.
I don't even know.
Well, and you mentioned Tory Blaylock, and we talked to him on Monday, and I was asking him about playing for DeMarco Murray, and Eddie's mentioned this before that having a dad that played professionally, like he came in with a mindset, and we all know DeMarco is a not a taskmaster, but he's a guy that makes you be on your P's and Q's. He's a hard coach.
A hard ass.
Yeah, he's a hard ass. And I think Tory Blaylock understands how to play for that kind of coach. I'm not sure Jaydn Ott does yet. And here's Brent Venables being asked about Jaydn Ott after it was over, and it was some interesting choices of words.
Yeah, again, you wish he was a little further along in every way, but you get in there, whatever opportunities you have, you get in there and you're ready. You got good juice, energy, aggressiveness. You have an attack mindset, all those things. Everything adds up. Everything matters. And so we'd love to get him going. He's if all things are good in that regard that I just said, then, man, his instincts, his speed, all of those things can be a real weapon.
And George, a lot of people are interpreting those words in different ways, but clearly they're talking more about, time and time again, talking a lot more about than just the physical part of Jaydn Ott's game.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
I think that you read between the lines there from Brent. He's basically saying, like, Jaden's not coming with enough juice either on game day or clearly in practice. Because if he was in practice, I think he'd be getting a lot more reps earlier in the game and not in garbage time. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if, it's definitely not an injury thing anymore. I don't think that is the case. I think this is very much a situation where Jaydn just isn't, I don't know, maybe he's not fully bought in on this thing. I'm not sure.
And it could be kind of an Allen Iverson thing. Like, you want me to practice? Are we talking about practice? Like, maybe he feels like he doesn't have to, like the Tory Blaylocks of the world know that you have to go hard and you have to play through injury. And he has that mentality as a freshman. And it doesn't sound like that's a mentality that Jaydn Ott has. And I'm sure a lot of it is, he's been tabbed as being this guy that's a first-round draft pick, and he tried to play through an injury last year, and he doesn't want to get hurt in practice. He wants to let it out on the field. I think what DeMarco and the coaches are saying is, unless you let it out on the practice field, you're not going to do it on game days.
Yeah. It's I thought those comments were telling. I mean, he's saying a lot without really saying a whole lot, if that makes any sense. And I think if you read between the lines, which we all will, because of the questions that surround Jaydn Ott, it's kind of a, hey, you better get your shit together and wake up, or you're not going to be a part of this offense moving forward, which I think is really super disappointing for a lot of people. They spent a lot of money on this kid.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I'm getting a lot of texts from people like asking me that just haven't followed it that closely, but they know I cover the team, and they're like, okay, what's the real deal with Jaydn Ott? What's really going on? I think we've explained it. I think what we just said is what's going on. It's just a matter of him having to have the right approach on the field, off the field, in order for the coaching staff to trust him. And they know, like, we're not getting the best out of him the way that he's going about preparing. And until he does that, we can't really trust him to be in our top 3 guys.
Yeah, I don't know if there's...
It's simple, but it's complicated because he's getting so much money, and Jim Nagy spoke so highly of him, and like Jim Nagy is this brilliant, evaluator. Like, it just doesn't make sense to people.
For a superstar player, or a quote-unquote star player, somebody like a Jaydn Ott that's coming into a program, it can't get any more embarrassing for him to be thrown out there in the fourth quarter like that.
Twice now.
And if that's not a wake-up call, I don't know if there ever will be one.
It's crazy. I think.
But here's the thing: they're not exactly in a bad spot, are they? At running back,
no, because of Tory Blaylock.
You can live with Tory Blaylock.
No, but
you can live with Xavier Robinson. He's better.
You could if he played like he did in 23 at Cal, which again, who knows if he could do that. It would unlock another level of this offense.
100%.
And that's the part that's maybe a little frustrating.
I didn't even pay attention. Was he on kickoff today?
No, that was the other thing. It was Satania and Bowen back there for kickoff. So they took him off kickoff.
Wow. Which I think they were trying to do that to jumpstart him, and now they're not even doing that, so that's concerning to me. All right, the other thing that people are going to be concerned about is will Keontez Lewis be available next week? Did he suffer a concussion? He did, have a towel over his head. He went back into the locker room. I can't remember at what point. I mean, right after he got hurt, obviously. Like, what point in the game was that? That was
second quarter.
So, and you're worried when guys put a towel over their head and go back to the locker room, get out of the light. Like, you're worried that he has a concussion. Brent Venables was asked about it in his condition after the game.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't seen him or whatnot. Hopefully he'll recover quickly. And looking at the replay, it's hard to tell, really what it was, but he got his bell rung for sure.
Eddie, were you on the opposite side when he got hurt? The opposite end zone?
Yeah, they were coming towards me. But,
so you couldn't really tell like if he was out or anything?
No. Just the way that they acted, though, like the medical staff on the field, I thought he was knocked out for a second. I don't know if he
wasn't moving.
They did get him up. They got him to the sidelines. He walked to the sidelines under his own power. And then right before halftime is when they took him into the locker room, and he had the towel on his head. All the telltale characteristics of somebody that had a concussion.
Didn't Mateer say afterwards they were joking?
I asked John about it, and he was very apologetic because I think he feels like the way
he led him into the defender.
Yeah, he hung him out to dry there a little bit. But he said that Keontez was in good spirits after the game. I don't know, man. It's a big game next week. You would certainly like to have Keontez Lewis available. I just don't know if he's gonna be able to get cleared by then. I mean, we're talking 6 days from now, 7 days from now.
And we don't even know if he was diagnosed with a concussion. We think he was.
Yeah.
His helmet was taken away, but he was on the sideline with no helmet on the whole second half.
Okay, they didn't show that on TV, so I didn't really notice that. But I mean, guys, that with Auburn coming up, and we all think Auburn's going to be a pretty good challenge. You want all available hands on deck, and not having Keontez Lewis is, a disadvantage for Oklahoma next week.
Yeah, it's certainly not a good situation. I mean, I think that he's been so fantastic through the first 3 games, and he seemingly was off to a pretty good start today. I don't know. You would prefer that he's out there, but maybe that opens up some space for somebody like an Elijah Thomas or somebody
Kearney.
or a Zion Kearney who looked good today to get into the mix. So, wide receiver I thought was pretty good today. They didn't really have any just terrible drops or anything like that. They blocked well on the edges, obviously for the Tory Blaylock runs. I thought like it's good to be in a spot with this offense now where you're wanting more, even though they're still producing a pretty good rate. They were still efficient with the day. So, I would say, too, that Michael Fasusi was there today. He's running around in a boot.
He was sprinting in a boot after the game.
I think he's perfectly fine. I think he's going to play. I know that we talked about it on the instant reaction, but what a luxury it is to have somebody like a Logan Howland that it's able to flip left to right or right to left, vice versa. And be able to still be really good at both spots. So I thought he was pretty good today in his, spot start today for Michael.
Well, and the fact that Satania broke out today makes you think that, okay, John Mateer's going to lean on him a little bit more if he has to. So that was good to see. But I don't think we've seen the best of Keontez Lewis. I mean, I think there's a lot more to come from him as a major part of this offense. And we've seen flashes of his talent and what he can do that other people can't do. And let me ask you this, Javonte Gibson, did he travel today? Yes, he was there.
Yeah, he was suited up.
How did he look did he go through pregame?
He didn't do anything.
Nothing?
He didn't do it.
Okay.
But there may be a chance he plays next week. I still think it's maybe Kent State, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see. That'd be a huge boost if you could get him. I don't know.
Well, it is interesting. I saw a tweet from Justin Hawkinson, who we've had on the game day preview before, and he, the tweet, I'm looking for it right now. I mean, just things he was saying. It was like a game where Auburn wasn't going to lose, but they also didn't seem to be really impressive. Here's a tweet. Auburn has been in complete control of this game, but the 31-15 lead going into the fourth quarter is closer than it should be.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
South Alabama outgained Auburn in the third quarter by a little bit. I know he said that, here's one, DJ Durkin and Hugh Freeze aren't going to be thrilled with the Auburn defense after this one. They've been okay, but South Alabama has done some things at times in both the run and pass game. I know Gabe Eichert said, on the post game, for OU that he had watched the first two Alabama games and thought that the defense was pretty far behind OU's in terms of how good that they actually were. You look at the stats today. This is Auburn versus South Alabama. 310 total yards for South Alabama, 337 for Auburn. That's a little bit shocking.
Damn. Yeah, I obviously didn't see any of the game, but just box score reading, it seemed like that was a lot closer than it needed to be.
They can't really throw the ball. It seems that they have. I mean, the best thing that they've done is Jackson running offensively.
Yeah, he was 13 of 24 today for 142 yards. He did throw for a touchdown, but he ran 10 times for 50 yards. He was their second leading rusher.
And I think he scored a touchdown or two touchdowns.
2 touchdowns running, yes.
Yeah.
His longest run of the day was 9 yards, so he ran a lot.
I don't think they trust him to throw the football.
It's going to be really interesting. I mean, that OU defense, they're better than I thought that they would be at this point of the season, 3 games in. I think that's my biggest takeaway from today is just that defense is better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they have the makings of what I would imagine is a dominant, elite college football defense. I mean, it's kind of what you were talking about, Carey. It feels like there's depth there. It feels like it has a good mix of veteran guys all the way down to true freshmen that are starting. Cortland Guillory, another fantastic performance, even though he wasn't really tested that much today. He's going to be very tested next week with Cam Coleman and those guys, but it'll be very telling here over the next couple weeks. I think we'll start learning even more than we already know about this defense and just how good, how elite can they be. Is there an opportunity to throw in the word elite when talking about this defense? And I mean, I keep going back to the defensive line. That group it's special to be able to watch them play. Just down in and down out. It feels like they have a little bit of an edge no matter what point of the game it's at.
And look, I don't think this team has arrived by any way, shape, or form, but the upcoming schedule, 6-0 looks a lot more realistic after watching some of Arch Manning today. 11 of 25, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. His longest pass of the day was 23 yards. People are really questioning if Arch Manning has a full shoulder right now.
He got booed today. I'm not going to sit here and say that I feel bad for the kid, but he was put into a really tough spot to be able to come in or just start, from day one, be the guy that everybody thought he was going to be. And he certainly, if he's not injured, there's something going on.
If he's not injured, then he's just maybe not as good as we thought he was.
Sure.
At least not yet.
We just didn't have that much to go on last year. And, Steve Sarkisian's not an idiot. He wasn't playing the wrong quarterback last year. That's clear now.
Yeah. All I know, this is what I'm going to say, is like just watching some of these SEC games, and we're sitting here watching the LSU-Florida game, and it's a dogfight. The Tennessee-Georgia game was awesome. Came down to the wire. Incredible. Every game, other than Kent State, every game from here on out, is going to be a straight up dogfight. And we can sit here and talk like, well, this team's better than that team or what. Like, it's going to be so difficult. But I really think Oklahoma, with the way they play defense, the quarterback they have, like, they're going to have a chance in all these games. It's can they come up with them late? Because like next week, I think there's a chance we're heading into that fourth quarter and the game's a little bit in flux. It's like, okay, what's Oklahoma going to do here? But I think that's how pretty much every game's going to be from here on out, other than the Kent State game.
We're going to know a lot about Texas when they play Florida October 4th. We're going to find out a lot about them, about how tough an opponent they're going to be in the Red River rivalry. Because
I think that's fair.
Florida's a capable team. I know they got beat by South Florida, but Billy Napier has a way of getting that team to come back after they've had a rough start.
Carey, just look at last year. That team could have 100% quit on him at the end of the season, and they certainly didn't. It was the exact opposite, actually. I think that it was a terrible home loss to South Florida, but at the same time, you could argue this Florida LSU game. They got about a 95-yard touchdown called back just a second ago. It could have been 10-0. Down in Baton Rouge. So
Peyton Houston's at that game, right?
3 at the end of the what?
Peyton Houston's at that game, right?
Yes, he is. He is, and he makes his announcement coming up on Monday afternoon, September 15th. I say afternoon. I don't know what time it is, but it's September 15th.
Would be bad to root for Florida, probably. Especially the way OU started. And by the way, it's really funny, too, because like you see the coaches on the hot seats, like graphics that On3 is doing those stories all the time. Brent has not showed up on that since the Michigan game. His face is no longer on the hot seat graphic.
But it could be next week if you don't beat Auburn at home.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be another game that you got to have really, really good atmosphere. And I think that if you can, not bank on that atmosphere, but feed off that atmosphere, I think this is a defense that they are only a couple stops away from turning this thing into something that you could go win by maybe a touchdown or more. I don't think that's crazy. I think it's just as big of a test as it is for Oklahoma next week. It's going to be an even larger test for Auburn coming on the road. I think, in my opinion.
I'm almost goosebumpy thinking about that game right now. Jackson Arnold coming back to Norman, the fans. They're all bought in. The believing is back, I think.
Yes.
I think today the turnout today was fantastic for OU fans in Philadelphia. I mean,
it was incredible, Carey. I thought that like we've been to some big, events, some big games, whether it be Florida State all the way back in 2011, Tennessee in 2015, Notre Dame in 2012, Ohio State in 2016. I would have put like this travel group up against those, but for what it was, I mean, the entire, I guess 100 level behind the OU bench, those were all OU fans. It was all OU fans.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Well, we talked about on Game Time how cheap those tickets were too. I mean,
yeah,
it was easy
cool
to get a ticket.
It was a good atmosphere. The it just like it was very reminiscent of some of those times that we went up to Kansas when they were really, really bad. And you just kind of got to create your own atmosphere. And I think that's why, you go back to the idea that what Brent talked about with it's just a mature victory from start to finish. They had good intensity from the start. And I think it kind of bled into everything else. And obviously that's how you get to a 42-3 final score that probably could have been, they probably could have put up 50 something if they really, really, truly wanted to today.
Well, and I'll say this too about the Michigan game. Like, it was a great game day. I think it was probably a better game day than it was, game atmosphere. Just the overall, rebooting of tailgating and all that stuff and how many people were on campus. Like, I hadn't felt that energy before a game in a long time. And all these people that came in, like Kirk Herbstreit's son did the thing for On 3. I saw some of the SEC the YouTubers that had came and talked about how great the atmosphere was. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was a great atmosphere. But I also thought, it does get better than this. Like, Michigan was great, but I've seen that stadium be louder, be, more raucous. Like, it can be better than it was at Michigan, and it was great. So I'm curious to see how crazy this thing gets this year if they keep winning.
I don't know. I've been going to games for a long time. I thought the atmosphere was some of the best.
It was pretty good. I thought it was really good. I just don't know if it's like that euphoric feeling that you got back in like 2008 when the jump around thing, like that was so not generic, organic. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. It was so organic that it's hard to replicate that type of stuff and get the feeling back in the stadium. But I think like as kind of to what you said, Carey, as everything continues to coalesce and everything continues to get better and people, each week with each win are going to start buying in a little bit more. Like, could this team be a college football playoff type team? I think it's going to get better. Like, the atmospheres are going to get better, especially as the weather turns and people, I think it just all kind of goes together. So, yeah, like for week 2 of a non-conference game against Michigan, it was great. I think it's going to be great next week at 2:30. And then you just kind of build off each performance or each home game is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's so cliche to say, but the most important game for Oklahoma as soon as this conference play starts is going to be the game that week. It's going to be like a little mini Super Bowl almost in some facets.
Did I tell you guys that I think I've come up with the perfect fourth quarter song for OU?
Let's hear it.
I hate it. What is it?
George, it's something that young people gravitate to. It's an old song that young people gravitate to at bars at the end of the night. It's Come On, Eileen.
I like that song.
Yeah.
Good song.
That could be a great sing-along. Especially when it like slows down and they build it back up.
I don't hate it at all. I think it'd be better than some of the other options that have been out there.
I think it's something everybody can get behind. Old people, young people. And it's very sweet Caroline-ish. And just in terms of everybody knows it.
I know that there's not a lot of people that do.
So anyway, that's my idea. I think Come On Eileen would work. I'm going to have to play it after this to figure out what part.
I don't know if you want to come on her.
Okay, there it is. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will bring us to the end of the Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast. Although I need to get back to watching some football. How's West Virginia and Pitt doing?
We were kind of keeping up. That it's in overtime.
Wow.
The last I saw, it was in overtime. What did you think of Tennessee, Georgia today? Was pretty impressive.
It was a perfect football game.
Does Clemson suck?
I think Cade Klubnik sucks. Okay. Although he did throw for 426 yards today.
Jeez, and they still got beat.
But
55-yarder?
2 interceptions to go along with it.
Oh, by the way, I would point out, Tate Sunderland was good today. Austin Welch was the one that what did I say? Sunderland?
Yeah.
Will's younger brother.
Oh, did you get to run into Bobby Witt on the sideline?
No, so when everybody kept saying that he was there, I think he had to leave at halftime to get over for batting practice.
Oh, I bet he did, yeah.
Over at the stadium, because the stadium, they share parking lots, so I'm sure that he just ran back over to the field. I never saw him, though. I wanted to. Shout out Bobby Witt. He had a nice night last night. He led off the game with a single and scored a run in the first.
West Virginia beat Pitt.
Wow. All right, that's a good win for Rich Rod.
In overtime.
I mean, here's two things locally. Like Northwestern only lost, 34-14 today, so that makes you question Gundy a little bit more, getting curb stomped that bad. Miami is up 28-6 on South Florida in the third.
Yeah, I think that it was a fun story for South Florida for a couple weeks, and they still might be pretty good. I think the other side of that, I think Miami might be really good.
How about this? Ohio State only up 13-3 on Ohio at halftime.
I think Ohio might be the best team in the MAC. The way that they beat West Virginia last week, it seems like this must be a pretty good Ohio team, or Ohio State's playing bad. I don't know which one is applicable.
Notre Dame is shut out.
We're watching Notre Dame.
Yeah,
we're watching Notre Dame A&M right now. That's another team that I know nothing about. I knew nothing about Georgia today. I think we learned a little something about them. That was a hell of a drive by Gunnar Stockton to go tie it up and get the 2-point conversion. I think we're going to learn a little bit more about Notre Dame, and then obviously Florida and LSU tonight.
Well, and right now, Vandy, South Carolina on SEC Network. That's a 7-7 game in the second.
Go find somewhere with 3 TVs.
Like 8 TVs.
All right, fellas. I appreciate it. Great work in Philly. We'll get the podcast up. I won't be here. I could actually almost get out of here before it's fully dark. That would be an accomplishment. Also, Michigan 63-3 over Central Michigan today. They've got a little juice. In Alabama,
might be a long year for the Chippewas, but Bryce Underwood had over 280 or 290 in the first half. I think he had 260 something passing.
Throwing, he had 235 on the game with 1 touchdown.
Okay,
but he did use his legs quite a bit. He had 9 carries for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm sure Larry Ellison's wife made some phone calls this week.
I'm excited about next weekend. It's going to be a fun time in Norman. I think this is a massive game for Oklahoma.
It's going to be awesome.
And I know that we kind of built this one up because it was the first road game, but I think that this one is even more important because you can finally kind of get back into the swing of conference play, build a little bit of momentum. Obviously, you got Kent State on the other side of it, but it's after the bye week. But it's kind of a lead up towards Texas, and you got to get through Auburn first. And I'm excited to see this defense be tested a little bit more than maybe they have in the first 3 games.
Well, and shout out to this team, too, because we did question, if there would be a letdown. Kirk Herbstreit, I don't know if you saw that. He kind of made a prediction that this would be like an emotional letdown for Oklahoma. It could be like a 17-17 game in the third. There was none of that going on today. So kudos to the coaches for getting this team ready, the team for taking it seriously. They showed a lot of maturity today, and I think that bodes well for the rest of the season.
Amen.
All right, that's going to do it. Appreciate Eskridge Lexus. Go check them out, eskridgelexus.com. If you're looking for a new luxury vehicle, we obviously love them here. Wouldn't drive anything else. Love my Lexus IS350. So thanks to them for sponsoring the pod, being a big part of this as our official travel partner. And we'll see you guys next week after Auburn for another Eskridge Lexus postgame podcast.